Part 1, The First Whisper. The floor creaked under my boots as I stepped into the dimly lit room. The library, ancient and dust-filled, felt like it had been waiting for me. I could feel it. The air was thick with something hidden, something important. It was here. I could almost hear the whisper of the manuscript, calling to me. But as I moved deeper into the forgotten halls, a sudden chill swept through the air. I froze. Someone had been here before me. I could sense it, the disturbance in the dust, the faint scent of someone's breath still lingering. Who else could be searching for the truth hidden in these walls? I clenched my fists. I had spent years preparing for this moment. My whole life had led me to this ancient building, to this very second. But what if someone else had beaten me to it? I could feel the panic rise within me, but I quickly pushed it down. There was no time for doubt. Only action. I turned sharply, my eyes scanning the shelves. There it was. The missing manuscript. The one that could change everything. It sat on the highest shelf, just out of reach. But it wasn't just any book. This book had the power to rewrite history. If I could get it in my hands, everything would change. But as I reached for it, something shifted. A loud noise echoed from the back of the library. Was someone else here? My heart skipped a beat. I had to get the book, before it was too late. Part 2, The Lost Page. The footsteps echoed louder now. Someone was coming. My eyes darted around, calculating my next move. I couldn't let anyone find me here. The manuscript was too important. But then, I noticed something strange. A loose page, yellowed with age, sticking out from a nearby book. My breath caught in my throat. It was a page from the manuscript. How had it ended up here? Was it a sign? Or a trap? I grabbed the page and quickly shoved it into my jacket. The library seemed to close in around me. The walls whispered secrets I wasn't ready to hear. But there was no turning back now. If I could just get to the manuscript and unlock its secrets, it would answer questions no one had dared ask. I took a deep breath and moved toward the shadows, careful to stay out of sight. The footsteps grew louder, closer. Whoever was following me wasn't going to stop. I had to act fast. Part 3, The Unseen Hand. The door to the study creaked open, revealing a shadowy figure standing in the doorway. My heart pounded in my chest. The figure didn't speak. Didn't move. It just watched me. I froze, the book clenched tightly in my hands. For a moment, time stood still. The figure stepped forward slowly, almost as if savoring the moment. "You think you're the only one who's been looking for it," the figure finally spoke, its voice cold and smooth. I didn't answer. I couldn't. My mind was racing, trying to figure out who this person was, why they were here, and how they knew about the manuscript. The figure took another step. "I know what you're after," they said. "But you're too late." Suddenly, the door slammed shut, trapping us both in the room. A low laugh echoed in the darkness. Part 4, The Final Truth. The tension in the room was unbearable. The figure, now closer, stepped into the light, revealing their face. It was someone I had known, someone I never expected to see here. My former mentor, the one who had taught me everything I knew about the library, about the manuscripts. But now, their eyes were cold, their smile twisted. "You think the truth will set you free?" they sneered. "The truth is a weapon. And it's a weapon I'm not willing to let you have." I took a step back, my heart racing. They knew. They knew what I was after. And they were willing to do anything to stop me. The manuscript was my only chance to uncover the lost history of our world. But now, it seemed that even the librarian who had guided me through the shadows was turning against me. The figure reached for something hidden under their cloak, and in that moment, I realized this wasn't just a race for knowledge anymore. This was a fight for survival. Part 5, The Final Battle. The figure lunged at me, but I was quicker. I dodged, using the book as a shield. The struggle was quick, brutal. But I wasn't just fighting for myself. I was fighting for every person who had ever questioned the stories they were told. With one swift motion, I pushed them away and grabbed the manuscript. It was heavier than I expected, the pages filled with secrets that could shatter everything. "You don't know what you're doing," my mentor growled from the floor. But I knew what I had to do. The manuscript wasn't just a book. It was the key to everything. I took the manuscript in my hands, feeling its weight, its power. The answer was within these pages. And no one, not even my mentor, could stop me now. Part 6, The Revelation. I opened the manuscript, each word a revelation. The truth was far darker than I could have imagined. The history we knew was a lie. A carefully constructed lie to control us all. But as I read on, I realized the truth was even more dangerous than I had ever expected. I wasn't just uncovering the past, I was about to expose something that would change the course of the future. A loud crash from the other side of the library broke my concentration. Someone else was here. More than one person. And they were coming for the manuscript. I closed the book quickly, clutching it tightly to my chest. It was too late to turn back now. The truth was out. But it seemed the world wasn't ready for it. And neither was I. The journey continues. Part 7, The Chase. I couldn't hear their footsteps yet, but I could feel them closing in. The air in the library felt thick with the weight of what I now knew. The manuscript in my hands was alive with secrets, secrets that could tear apart everything I had ever believed. The future of knowledge itself was on the line, and I was the only one who could stop it from being buried forever. I turned quickly, searching for an exit. The library, once a sanctuary of knowledge, now felt like a labyrinth, each corner a trap waiting to be sprung. But I couldn't stop. The sound of hurried footsteps echoed from the darkness. They were getting closer. I ran. My legs burned with the effort, but the fear of what might happen if I failed pushed me forward. The manuscript was my only chance. But there were others, people who would do anything to keep it hidden. I had no time to think. The shelves seemed to stretch endlessly, twisting in strange ways. I was sure I had passed the same aisle 3 times. The dark corners of the library seemed to mock me, growing more confusing with every step. Then I saw it, an exit. The door at the far end of the hall, barely visible in the low light. I didn't hesitate. My heart pounded in my chest as I sprinted toward it, hearing the chase growing closer. But just as I reached for the handle, a figure appeared in front of the door. Another one. Their face was covered, their posture rigid. "You think you can leave with that?" the figure said, voice low and threatening. I didn't have time to respond. I had only one choice. Part 8, The Betrayal. The figure stepped closer, blocking the exit. The library had become a prison, and I had just been cornered. "You should have stayed away," the voice came again, colder this time. A wave of cold dread washed over me. I had thought I was alone in this fight, but now it seemed the truth was far more complex. There were more players in this game than I had realized. I reached for the manuscript, clutching it tighter. They wanted it. I could see the desire in their eyes. But it wasn't just any knowledge they sought, it was power. The ability to control the truth. "I never thought it would come to this," the figure said, stepping closer. Their hand reached out. "But it's for the greater good. You're not ready to know what you found. No one is." I felt a strange sense of betrayal, but it wasn't the first time. My mentor had already betrayed me. Now, this stranger was offering me the same hollow promise. But I couldn't trust them. Not anymore. "You don't have the right," I said, backing away. "No one does." But the figure didn't listen. They lunged at me, and in that moment, everything changed. The manuscript was torn from my grasp, and I found myself thrown to the ground. As I looked up, something incredible happened. The door behind me swung open. A new figure stepped in, older, with eyes that I recognized instantly. It was my mentor. But this time, there was no warmth in their gaze. Only cold determination. Part 9, The Revelation. Enough, my mentor said, their voice steady. It's time for the truth. The other figure stepped back, their eyes wide with surprise. You knew. My mentor nodded slowly, a grim smile forming. I knew. And now, we all know. The world is about to change. I scrambled to my feet, still clutching the broken manuscript. The pieces of history lay scattered in my hands, but I could feel the truth beginning to form around me. Everything was shifting, and I was at the center of it all. Why? I demanded, feeling a mixture of confusion and anger. Why didn't you tell me? Because the world wasn't ready. I wasn't ready, they replied, eyes darkening. But now we've crossed the point of no return. You wanted to find the truth, but some truths are too dangerous to be revealed. I held the pieces of the manuscript tightly, no longer willing to let it slip from my grasp. You can't stop it, I said, my voice filled with resolve. The truth is out. It's already begun. My mentor stared at me, their face expressionless. Then, without a word, they turned and walked away, leaving me alone with the truth that could change everything. But the journey wasn't over. It had only just begun. Part 10, The Truth Unveiled. I stood in the center of the library, the manuscript now fully in my hands. The weight of the pages seemed to grow heavier, each word a revelation that had the power to upend the very foundation of society. The more I read, the more I realized that nothing in history was what it seemed. Everything, the wars, the leaders, the stories we were taught, had been rewritten to serve a greater agenda. But with this knowledge came danger. The forces that sought to keep the truth buried would stop at nothing to destroy it. And now that I had uncovered it, I knew they were coming for me. I didn't know how much time I had. The library was no longer safe. The people who had once guided me were now my enemies, willing to go to any lengths to keep this truth from spreading. But I was done hiding. The world wasn't ready for what I was about to do. But it had to be done. The truth would come out. And there would be no going back.